Now here's a pretty funny interview out of the state of Michigan. A left-wing candidate named William Lawrence just won the Democratic primary for Michigan's 7th congressional district. He is a radical activist and a, quote, former, unquote, member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Now, he was called to account for his recent departure from the DSA, and that's when the interview went sideways. Let's take a look.
So did you let that membership expire because of the general election?
No, it's just because I want to make clear to my constituents that I'm here to represent them.
So when did you leave the Democratic Socialists of America?
It was within the last month I let my membership lapse.
Now this is important because he beat two more moderate Democrats who appear to have split the moderate vote. And Manu Raju, of course, he asked him why he left the DSA, and all Lawrence could say was, well, his membership lapsed. Well, that is quite convenient, isn't it? Because now that the DSA is getting a lot of national attention, and we saw the jaw-dropping platform that was put out there, including abolishing the Senate, abolishing the police, abolishing borders, it goes on, and they are really a threat to the United States of America. Of course, these are not a lot of classic socialist positions. They are part and parcel of a plan to deconstruct the United States of America, to rebuild it in the progressives' image of a socialist utopia. So now that Lawrence is distancing himself from the DSA, it shows that there is some weakness among the polling of those who are associated with the DSA. That means the American people are catching on. And this is one of the reasons why the Democratic Party has not called themselves socialist for decades. They call themselves Democratic to hide the fact that they are actually socialists. This is something that has been obvious to political analysts for decades and decades, and it is now catching up to them because the DSA, who are hardline activists, as we briefly touched on, they are infiltrating the Democratic Party. Now, if you read radical publications like Jacobin magazine, they discuss how these Democratic socialists, so-called, want to infiltrate the Democratic Party and carve it up and make a dirty break, leaving the Democratic Party a broken shell of itself. And so when Lawrence is asked about the DSA and he says, I don't want to comment, well, it just means that he's hiding something from the American people, just like the Democratic Party and the DSA. They don't want normal Americans to know that their plan is to simply destroy every institution in America. Again, with the examples that I just gave, the Senate, they will also want to expand the Supreme Court and essentially make it a mouthpiece for the party. And they want to hobble the presidency. They want to abolish borders and have ICE abolished as well. So we're talking about the deconstruction, or I would say destruction, of the United States of America as it was founded. And now they're running from their public record, and it is something that should tell everyone that they are a danger to the country, and they know that they have to hide that, because otherwise, what would they have to hide? If you run for public office, everyone should know who you are and what you stand for. But this guy, Lawrence, he was a co-founder of the Sunrise Movement, which was a climate activist group connected to AOC. And now he has a chance to win the general election, so he's trying to pivot to the mainstream. But don't fall for it. We saw what happened with Abigail Spanberger in Virginia and Mickey Sherrill in New Jersey. This should not be fooling Americans anymore. If you're in the Democratic Party, you're a radical, unless your name is John Fetterman. So not even CNN was buying William Lawrence's nonsense, and it's a bunch of malarkey. And if anyone had anything to do with the DSA at any point in their lives, the overall chances of them being a socialist are virtually 99%. So unless they're an outspoken critic of socialism and is rebuking everything that it stands for, you can pretty much bet that they're a socialist deep down. So weigh in with your own thoughts about this story. We always appreciate hearing from you at the Becker Brief.